What's going on, everybody? It is Dr. Jamar Montgomery of drjamarmontgomery.com here with another message about politics and keeping people informed. And there's two things that I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about how we are willing to throw away personal relationships, throw away people that we know based off of voting for people who we don't know. What do I mean? I mean that it's very interesting to me that there is so much division in this country regarding who you're going to vote for in a presidential election, particularly this what's going on with Kamala and Trump and all of the inherent messaging that is included in that. So if I were to say that I'm not voting for Kamala, then people are automatically thinking that I don't like black women, even though I'm married to a black woman and have a black daughter. They automatically think that I'm a Republican, even though I'm registered as an independent and have usually voted for Democratic candidates. Um, they think that I'm okay with racism, even though racism has been in this country forever. So there's all these different messages that and conclusions that people will make about you based upon who you vote for, and that's a, that's okay. That's human nature. The problem that I have is that let's say you're black and you're saying to your family that you're voting for President Trump, that people would disown you because of who you're voting for, that people would have such an issue with you based on who you're voting for. And as strongly as they may feel about your candidate, that you might feel as strongly about their candidate as they feel about yours. They, but you're not vilifying, you're not demonizing that person for feeling that way, for voting for whoever they want to vote for. So we are willing to throw away people, throw away relationships of people that we know for people that we don't know, for politicians that we don't know, politicians that we probably never ever meet, probably never ever have a real conversation with in our lives. We're willing to throw that away. And I believe because of cowardice, because we're not willing to sit down and have the difficult conversations about why you're voting for a particular person, how their policies help you, how you're overlooking their shortcomings, because every politician has their shortcomings. And for me, I have never told people not to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. I've just told people why I'm not voting for her. And one of the things that most people get Kamala Harris on is the fact that she was a prosecutor and she locked up thousands of black men. And people say, "Oh, well, that's not quite true. She only locked up this many." And the thing is that there are people who she sent to prison, and then there are people who she sent to jail. And I know firsthand that because of Kamala Harris's policies and her attitude towards nonviolent drug offenses is the reason why a lot of California's prisons were overcrowded. And the conditions in California prisons were so bad that the federal government came in and took over. They were under consent decree for a good, I don't know, maybe 5 years. Now, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation was under overcrowding because of some of the policies that Kamala Harris had implemented. But I don't fault her for necessarily being a prosecutor, because think about it. If somebody stole your car or somebody broke into your house, you would want them prosecuted to the full extent of the law, right? Prosecutors are supposed to go after criminals, right? It's unfortunate that many of our black men are caught up in the criminal justice system because of not only prosecutors and district attorneys, but also because of the police. So that's one discussion. Where the issue where we should be having a problem with Kamala Harris is regarding her going after bad police officers. Where is her record of going after bad police officers, of prosecuting police officers who violated the constitutional and civil rights of citizens? That's what we should really be focusing on whether or not this is a person that we actually want representing us. And, you know, Kamala Harris doesn't have the strongest record on going after police officers. Think about it. Reasonable people would understand that a prosecutor is supposed to be aggressive, right? Be fair, be aggressive, but be fair. But where is that aggression when police officers break the law, where police officers violate constitutional rights? Where is that same aggression? And we haven't seen that. And that's what she should be judged off of, particularly for people in the black community who are concerned about criminal justice reform. And she just doesn't have a record of doing that. Take that in contrast with someone like a Marilyn Mosby, who's the Baltimore state attorney, right? Where she went after cops who violated constitutional civil rights, and then they came after her, right? Marilyn Mosby didn't play it safe like Kamala Harris played it safe in terms of going after police officers. And what does that mean? The police unions are some of the most powerful unions in the United States, and they wield a lot of influence and a lot of particular power in those kinds of situations. Rebecca Brooks says, I don't disagree with you. Let's see. I gotta go down. I think that one of the major failures of our community is only looking at things from one perspective and not identifying the other ways that we can look at this particular issue, not addressing the other parts that are important to us. So as a social justice warrior, as a criminal justice advocate, as a juvenile justice advocate, I have a big issue with the fact that Kamala Harris doesn't have a record of going after crooked police officers and crooked officials. I have a big issue with that. Now, in this particular election, I feel as if people are looking at me and black men in general as if we're just supposed to get information and stay on code with a figure like Kamala Harris. And we want to know what is she going to offer. Rebecca Brooks said, Trump wants to give police immunity. Well, what's the difference between giving police qualified immunity, which they already have to begin with? What's the difference between Trump wanting to give qualified immunity and Kamala Harris not having a record of going after police officers when they violate your constitutional rights? You effectively have the same thing. So what is the difference between a Kamala Harris and a President Trump? Qualified immunity really deals with more of state and local law enforcement. That is a decision that is made by state and local courts than it is by a federal jurisdiction or federal courts. So Trump is just signaling that he will support the police. And once again, he's looking for the support of police unions because they're one of the most powerful unions in America. Um, when you start analyzing policies from that perspective, you get to see where the real differences are. Where the real differences are. Rebecca Brooks, thank you so much for liking the lives, and thank you so much for the feedback. I really appreciate that. I love when my followers and my subscribers are engaged because it makes the conversation that much richer. And it's important that we have an informed and involved constituency. I, I what's the difference between a Kamala Harris and a President Trump? You can say that one is a felon and one is let's see. I think he meant being allowed to arrest rioters and looting without pushback. Well, well, let's put it this way. I have a big issue with militarized police and protests. That's actually one of my expertise areas. I'm an expert in militarized policing and protest policing and First Amendment. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and in America, we have a big issue with fairness and integrity. That if the people from January 6th were wrong, then the people who also tried to burn down a federal courthouse in Portland, Oregon, are also wrong. That the George Floyd protests, the ones that got out of hand and turned into riots and turned into those kinds of not turned into riots, but started off destructive, that those people should also be prosecuted to the similar extent of the people in January 6th. If we're just going to be fair, there are people who are upset and feel like their government wasn't listening to them when it came to police brutality, when it came to fairness of black men, and decided that they were going to take to the streets. Okay, where there were people who decided that their government wasn't listening to them and their government was getting ready to silence their vote and cheat them out of their vote, cheat them out of their voice. So they're going to the Capitol to stop them from doing that. What may have started off peaceful, all of a sudden turned violent. So, right, I think an active constituency, an active citizenry is good for America. But when the citizens are not involved, then it becomes a problem, because the problem gets out of hand, and then all of a sudden now you have to make drastic moves. And you don't want that. You don't want that. So, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on that. Any questions? Let's see what my folks said. He said, I think he meant loud being able to, you explain things, love your videos. I appreciate that, Jennifer. Thank you so much. User such said overthrowing the government. Overthrowing the government, that's one way of looking at it. Let's see what we have here. Jennifer said, that's what I meant. I get that. I'm a lawyer, but I'm concerned about the likely outcome if Trump wins. Rebecca, I'm a lawyer as well, so I'm glad to have another lawyer on here. Trump wants to give police immunity. Yep. I don't disagree with anything you have said, but what is the likely outcome of not voting for Harris? The thing about Trump is that does that fact that you aren't voting for Harris mean that you're voting for Trump? I'm likely to vote for Trump. That's a real thing. I never thought it'd be a real thing, but it's a real thing. Um, it, People call Trump a racist. People call Trump a racist. Um, I think that Trump's constituency and much of his base are much more racist than Trump actually is. And Trump just took the mask off of people. People felt comfortable taking their politically correct mask off. Um, they felt comfortable taking their politically correct mask off and actually saying what they felt, saying what they thought, and if it was racist, then it's just what it was. Um, Me too. It's about the policy. At the end of the day, we had to. Yeah. So, um, we just. I'm a black man in America, and uh, that's crazy. Jennifer Oler said we had a good economy. You had a great economy underneath Trump. And the thing is I posted a video on my Instagram yesterday, that showed what the inflation numbers were, what the housing prices were, and what interest rates were. And they were great underneath Trump. And then things got expensive during a Biden presidency. And some people can say that it takes, usually it takes anywhere from 12 to 18 months for any policy changes to be seen, for them to show up in the economy. So, um, yeah, it takes like 6 to 8 quarters. It wasn't Trump's economy; it was President Obama's economy. Pitboy 202, I think, prior to COVID, yes. Post COVID, nah, that was Trump's policies that did that, because COVID put an entire shock on the economy. Put an entire shock on the economy. Um, but once again, from 2016, from 2016 to 20, I'll say this, to 2018. From 2016 to 2018, you could say that was Obama's economy, but from 2018 on, that was Trump's economy. Those were his policies. And then coming into about 2022, those were Trump's policies that we were being affected by. So, but yeah. What economic policies are you talking about? Not economic policies, about what was going on with interest rates, what was going on with housing prices, what were going on with consumer goods. See, a lot of our goods went up because we import a lot of things from China, and with the tariffs that were being put on China, all those costs came onto us as Americans. Problem with putting tariffs on Chinese products is that if you don't have American products of the same volume, then people are going to go ahead and just pay that cost and not necessarily buy American, because you don't know if you're buying Chinese fruit or Chinese vegetables when you go into the store. You don't know that. That had nothing to do with him. The tariffs were Trump's doing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let me help you understand, Pitboy. If Trump puts tariffs on Chinese products in 2022, we may not necessarily see the effects of that. Excuse me. If you put tariffs on in 2020 or 2019, you may not necessarily see how that really affects you on a stabilized basis until 18 months later. Jennifer said everything has doubled and tripled in some cases because all the money Biden spent and sent I will say that a lot of our tax dollars did not get spent on United States citizens. They got spent in Ukraine and got spent in Israel. Um, and that's another thing is that when we look at Kamala Harris, is Kamala Harris going to provide reparations? No. Is she going to provide opportunities for black business owners and black entrepreneurs? Maybe, I hope so. Um, Once again, I'm not telling anybody not to vote for her. I'm just telling people this is one way of looking at it and one perspective of it. Um, as much as America wants things to change, I don't think that black men, um, black men who are married to black women who make above $60,000 are too confident in the leadership of a Kamala Harris. The Biden Harris administration already provided funding for black businesses. Absolutely. They absolutely did. Also provided an environment where the IRS has greater enforcement and greater auditing. And they don't go after large businesses, they go after small businesses. All I'm saying is that the I do not I do not have faith in an economy that is ran by a Biden Harris administration. Um, I do not have faith in it. I do not have faith in it. And usually, the crazy part is the country usually does well under a Republican president. Usually does well. The economy usually does well under a Republican president. The economy is doing just fine. Yama, she said, let's go. Maybe the economy's doing just fine, but things are expensive. Things are more expensive. Things are more expensive. Okay, it's not true. All right, I, I'm looking at what the Federal Reserve numbers say. Let me see if I can pull that up for us real quick. Settings. Let's see what we have here. I'm gonna go to interact. If it allow me to show a picture, let's see, enhance. Nope. Flip the camera. Let's see what we have. Settings. That's one thing about TikTok is that it will not allow you to change things on the fly, unfortunately. How is this Biden's fault, not Trump's tax plan for billionaires, buddies? The tax cuts, the tax cuts is definitely Trump's doings. Is definitely Trump's doings. And for his billionaire buddies, absolutely. Um, there we go. Let's see if it allow me stickers. If it let me use an image. Nope. Enhance. All right. Let's see. Where's it at? Recents. Nope, it's not where I want to go. Go here. I need more sleep. Oh, that's right, because this is my old phone. I'm not a billionaire and enjoyed the tax cut. I'm glad for you, Lisa. Let's go here. Let's go to the Federal Reserve. We're going to the Federal Reserve economic data. So let me do it like this. The last three Republicans have left the country in economic duress. Okay. Let's see. Let's go here. We're going to flip camera. All right, we're going to Fred, and we're going to go to housing prices. We're going to housing. Existing housing inventory, existing home sales, newly private and right housing price index, all transactions. All right, and we're gonna go from within the last 5 years. Look at that. Look at that. Going up. Tax cuts are about to expire, and don't forget, big corporations provide lots of jobs. They do, but this is the thing: big corporations provide 50% of the jobs, and the other 50% of jobs are provided by "quote unquote" small businesses. All transactions, house price index. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go to interest rates. All right, interest rates. Discount rate. No, that's the wrong one. Federal funds effective rate. Okay. It's COVID. Let's go to last 10 years. Right? So it got up to 2.4%. Now they're at 5.33%. So this is Joe Biden on President Trump, right, from 2016. Thanks, Chris Lyles, for the heart. Appreciate you. So let's look at what else. Let's look at what else do we have. Mortgage. It's going down, right? And think about it in this way. And that I remember my parents telling me about this. That interest rates got up to 17% in the 80s. Interest rates were like, my parents paid like a 10% interest on their house when I was a baby. Lisa said, I'm middle class and I did much better on the Trump economy, even with tax cuts for billionaires. The tax cuts would have been fine if we wouldn't have been giving so much of our tax money to other countries. So look at this, 2.8%, 6.73% as of June 27. Look at that, in 5 years. Right, that's during Trump. And this is all Biden. Let's see if they have anything else. Crime. Let's see if they have statistics on crime. For those that are wondering what I'm doing, this is the Federal Reserve economic data, and it's the St. Louis Fed that keeps a lot of these statistics. Let's see. This continued 2025 to 2021, 2023. Montgomery County, let's see. They stopped doing this in 2021. Yep, America First. Interesting. Let's go to Max. Let's go to crime, law enforcement. All these are discontinued, unfortunately. Yeah. Interest rates are much lower when you have a strong economy. Absolutely, Brenda. Absolutely. So, those are just some things that I look at. Those are some things that I look at and that I analyze. Um, Once again, I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm concerned about the I'm concerned about taxes, right? I'm concerned about tax enforcement. I'm concerned about all those things. I'm concerned about blockchain and crypto, and that's a space where the Biden Harris administration, they were tough on them. So, yeah. And thank you everyone for all the engagement and all the likes. I really appreciate y'all for rocking with me. So, if you care about economic and foreign policy, then vote Trump. If you care about abortion, vote Harris. That's interesting. That you would be. Why do women have abortions? Why do women have abortions? I'm not talking about the rape, incest, or health of the mother. I'm talking about all those other things. I think it's for economic reasons. Maybe she's not ready. Maybe she's not ready to be a mother. And what does that mean? She's not willing to give up a career. She's not in a place financially or educationally or economically in order to do it. Right? And so now she's making this decision. So is abortion an economic decision? All the women I know that had abortions usually just didn't want the baby. Damn. Why didn't they want the baby? They didn't want the responsibility? Didn't want the cost? I just wonder, is abortion an economic decision? Responsibility? I understand that. I understand that. And this is coming from a man who has talked to women about having abortions and supported women having abortions. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't realize how heinous it was until I started really maturing. Yeah. We need to do better about providing support and tools to not get pregnant. I think people know how not to get pregnant. Just going raw just feels good. It happens. Might sound ugly, but people use abortion as birth control. Yeah, that's a sad thing. That's a sad thing. There's condoms. People know about condoms. People know about taking the pill. But crazy part about that is that the pills are bad for you. But there's always condoms. There's other contraceptives. There's abstinence, right? Abstinence works 100% of the time. But yeah, most everyone is okay with exceptions. Yeah, most people are okay with exceptions. Um, but yeah, and I don't know what it is, but I always seem to come always back to talking about abortions, which is interesting. Which is interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I care more about being able to feed my family, to be honest, as you should, as you should, as you should. Um, yeah, you should really vote your pocketbook. You should really vote your pocketbook, and then see how whatever policies that the people that you're voting for and their policies, how that's going to affect your pocketbook. point blank period. Um, Money can't buy everything, but money answereth all things. Money answereth all things. You hungry? Money can solve that, can answer that. You're not feeling well? Money can answer that. Um, you need to get somewhere? Money can answer that. You don't like who your politicians are? Money can answer that. But yeah, something to think about. Something to think about. Let's see, how long have I been on here? 35 minutes? Crazy. But yeah, thank you, Lisa. Hopefully you are following me. Hopefully that you would subscribe to me, because these are the kinds of conversations that I'm going to be having, uh, definitely for the foreseeable future, because this is where you come to get educated about politics, education, and crypto. Thank you for the follow, Lisa. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. As well as you, Jennifer. Even Pit Boy, Brenda McCurdy. Hopefully, you guys all follow me as well. Uh, I'm here to make people think about things in a different way, see things from a different perspective. You may not always agree with the perspective, which is fine, which is great. But the goal is not for everyone to agree with you. The goal is to have a better understanding of where everyone is coming from, and find out the places where you do agree and the places where you may not necessarily agree. And the more information that you have, the better decisions you're empowered to make. So yeah, look at the whole issue about abortions and see who is really pushing the issue. Okay, Mr. Jackson, who's really pushing the issue? That would be great. Who's really pushing the issue? Help inform the audience, sir. Help inform the audience. And if you want to come up, the Christian nationalist. Okay, well, I'm a Christian man. Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus is King, and He died on the cross for my sins. The Christian nationalist. Look at the whole issue and see who is really pushing the issue. Mr. Jackson, are you willing to come up and talk to us about it? If not, that's okay too. Yeah. Uh, Christian nationalism. Whenever I think of Christian nationalism, I think about the KKK. I think about people who uh, want this country to be ran like a theocracy and not a republic, not a constitutional republic. One of the conversations that I had with Kanye is he was saying, they were trying to say, oh, well, this is a Christian country. And I said, no, it's not a Christian country. What you should say is that we're a country of all religions, but it just happens to be run better by Christians. I don't agree with that. Democrat Party is literally running it as their main issue. Yeah, that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen is the Democratic Party has been the main ones pushing it. Main ones pushing it. The problem that I have with people that say, not people that they say, but the pro-life agenda is that it's only pro-life while in the womb, but are you going to make sure that these children get health care, get a proper education, and things like that? That's the issue that I have with pro-life, is that if you're going to be pro-life in the womb, then it's got to be pro-life outside of the womb. And the same with pro-choice. If it's going to be pro-choice in the womb, then it's got to be pro-choice out of the womb. What do I mean? So you as a woman can choose whether or not to have an abortion or not, but I as a man do not have a choice on whether or not I want to financially or economically be responsible for a child that I may not have wanted. So um, you have to, and that's the thing about having um, integrity, is that what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. So you're saying that it's okay you're saying that this baby that was created by two people, that you as a mother get to make a decision on what happens to this fetus. And once again, I say a fetus because people are like, well, a fetus isn't a person. Okay, well, it's property, and it's co-created property then. It took a sperm and it took an egg in order to make this fetus. And now, because the woman has, we call it in Louisiana, usus, fructus, and abusus. It's the three types of ownership. So use of the property, uh, garners the fruits of the property, and abuse of the property, meaning that you can destroy it at any given time. You're able to use it at any time, and you're able to bear the fruits of it at any time. So you're telling me that this property that is in this woman's stomach, because it's in her womb, that she has full ownership over this fetus. Yet when the fetus becomes a baby or is born, now all of a sudden it's a person, and it turns from property into a person. It's just crazy. Just crazy. But yeah, um, I didn't want to be on here too long. I just wanted to come and holler at y'all, say hello, and go from there. But y'all be blessed. Y'all be great. Go read your Bible. Spend some time with God. Jesus Christ is King. Jesus is Lord. And Yahweh is the way. I hope y'all have a great evening, and thank you so much for the follows. Thank you so much for the likes. I really appreciate it. Like I have literally the best audience. I literally have the best audience, and it's because of people like yourself, Jennifer, people like yourself, Lisa, Mr. Jackson, and Rebecca Brooks. I really appreciate y'all, as well as the brother that gave me a gift. In this short time, I've had 2.3 thousand likes. So thank you so much, everyone. It helps get our message out for people who want to think differently and who want to see politics in their world from a different perspective. So thank you, everyone, for the engagement. Thank you so much for the comments, and I really appreciate y'all. You guys are the best audience in the world. Y'all have a great night. Why are you fussing at me, Shuggy? What? Give me a second.